Hello, you lovely people!
And welcome back to another episode of the
Finding Our Feet podcast.
My name is Sam Henley.
My name is Sean Merrick.
And I am Becca Boomer.
Now, Finding Our Feet podcast, as we say every podcast, is a podcast about discovering our way as young adults and working through life and all of its changes and challenges and how we really find our feet in a world that never stands still.
Nice.
Come on.
Today's episode, we've got two guests.
There's no way.
We're spoiling
we
you.
love switching it up on Finding Our Feet. We've got two lovely ladies from our course.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So we've got Alexis and we've got Clara. They're both actors, so not particularly in my class, but you guys have both acted with them
Yes.
in your shows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a Midsummer
Midsummer
Night's
Night's Dream.
Just finished Midsummer Night's Dream. So we did two little interviews and it was amazing. You're
Yeah.
gonna really enjoy it.
A lot of fun.
Before we start the interviews, Sean, you've got a game for us.
We've got a little game,
No
everyone's
way.
favourite part, because it's all me. So we're going to do another game, as we always do, and today's game is Would You Rather?
Classic.
Now,
Classic
do we need to do
drinking
a
game.
practice, or do we not? I think Would You Rather's pretty
No,
self-explanatory.
I
I
think we know
I
this
think
one.
I know this.
If
one.
anyone, for whatever reason, hasn't played Would You Rather, I'm going to give you two options, and you're going to tell me what you would rather do.
Cool.
Simple.
Make sure you say what you would rather do, listeners, by commenting or messaging us on Instagram at Finding Our Feet.
Let's go. Finding Our Feet podcast.
I also forgot to say podcast like 5 minutes
I know.
ago.
You're forgetting what we're doing.
It's like you know the Mandela effect where the word
It's like finding your feet. No,
Podcast.
it's finding our feet.
Finding
Yeah.
Our Feet.
Come on.
If you follow us on YouTube, we're on YouTube now as well. Woohoo! We are finding our feet, not finding your feet.
Come on.
Okay, let's get into the game. Are you both ready?
Yeah.
Always ready.
Okay, your first question. Would you rather your thoughts appear in a speech bubble above your head or be narrated out loud in real time?
Ooh. That's quite tough.
I think
Who's narrating?
Oh, up to you. Do you know what? You get to pick narrator. I'll let you decide who that is.
Samuel L. Jackson.
if
Samuel Jackson?
if I throw a blanket over my head, will they not see my thoughts?
No, they still will. They
They'll
just won't
just
see
see a
your
bubble.
face.
Okay, then I choose narrator because if I've got really something bad to say, I'll start playing like music really loudly so nobody can hear them.
That's a good shout. Yeah, I agree.
Also, like, if I'm, like, talking bad about someone in my head because I don't want to say it out loud, like someone's really annoying me, I'm saying it in my head, it'd be really funny if, like, David Attenborough was narrating
Yeah.
it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like if you're on the bus and someone's being really loud and David Attenborough goes, "They are really annoying me on this bus today. I wish they would keep their conversation to themselves." That'd be great.
That's nice. Yeah, I think we'll agree.
There we go.
Come on.
Right, your next
Welcome
question.
back, David Attenborough.
To the Finding Our Feet podcast, David Attenborough. No. Great banter on the Finding Our Feet podcast. Your next question is, shut up, Boomer. You're bullying me. Would you rather uncontrollably shout "ta-da" every time you enter a room or whisper "I'm sorry" every time you leave?
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, definitely. That's really
You're
funny.
whispering, I'm sorry, like that's so funny. You're lying, like every time you do anything.
But I think there's instances where that's not a great thing. Like,
Yeah.
giving an example of places where that's not great to
What,
do.
that I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Walking out of a business meeting.
Yeah. Or...
Yeah, but I just like don't think it's that bad.
Okay,
Rather than
all right.
shouting, you whispering,
Ta-da.
I'm sorry, leaving a room, other than
But-
going, ta-da!
I like to make an entrance, so I think walking into a room and going, ta-da, would be really quite funny. Whereas if you're like walking out of a funeral home and then you go, "I'm sorry," like that's not great.
Unless
That's
there's
true.
police about and it makes it look like you killed the person,
Ooh.
then I think that it's not that deep. Like, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sorry for... Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry is always nice.
But it is always a whisper, which is slightly suspicious.
I'm gonna go with I'm
You're
sorry.
going, "I'm sorry."
I'm saying I'm sorry.
I'm
too.
going to go with
Ta-da.
ta-da, because
Nobody
I'm a
asked
theatrical
you.
person. Oh, well, I'm sorry. There was no need. There was
Maybe
actually
included him.
There was actually no need. Okay, this is a bit of a deep question. Would you rather be incredibly rich but never truly loved, or deeply loved but always be financially struggling. And we're
Well,
talking
we're gonna
like
be
badly.
financially struggling anyway.
That's
in
true.
Our careers.
We are actors.
Finding
so-
our feet in the industry.
So I
Oh,
would
yeah.
choose, like I wouldn't give up my relationship for a poop ton of money right now.
Oh, but we're talking a lot of
Yeah,
money.
like I wouldn't, because I'll like in my head I'll make that in the future.
Money doesn't
I'm a
solve problems
grinder.
though, whereas love can.
Yeah, there are some really rich people who are deeply unhappy
That's what I mean.
because they're not respected.
Most people that won the lottery, this is factual, are more depressed than they were before they won, and or have lost all of their money by the time because they keep on trying to buy stuff to like fill the hole of their
Exactly.
of
Whereas
their
love
like
is just
life.
love.
Love is beautiful.
Love's
Love is
class,
filling.
Yeah, it's always better to fill your soul with love than to fill your pockets with money. That's my
Drop
quote
the
for the
mic.
day.
Wow.
Mic dropped. There you go. So we're all in agreement. We'd all
Yeah,
rather.
Yeah.
Perfect. We'll go for two more.
Cool. Perfect.
There we are. Here's a good one, and one that I think you'll like, Becca Boomer, as an active musician. Would you rather be able to speak all languages in the world or play every single instrument perfectly?
I would like all languages.
All
It's way easier to learn instruments than it is to learn languages.
That's
and
true,
To
but-
speak all languages, bro.
But imagine at a party if someone goes, "Oh, can you play this instrument?" Like, or if you're in a band and you can just go, "Yeah," to everything.
Yeah, but I can already play some instruments, so I'm not like
Oh.
that gassed. Do you know what I mean? Like I
Come on,
already
don't
got
brag.
some
Watch
behind my
out.
belt. I can't speak languages. I'm learning Irish. That's
You
why.
barely can speak English. So.
Literally,
That's so
no,
true.
so true.
That's so true.
And what about you, Sam Henley?
All languages for me.
Really? Even
Yeah,
as a budding
100%.
musician yourself, follow Sam Henley on TikTok
Come
to
on.
see him
Sam
singing.
Henley _ let's go.
Come on.
Languages literally for the main reason of it gives me the freedom to go wherever.
Yeah.
And traveling is something that I would love to do, but I am scared because I don't know the languages and therefore don't know like the cultures of everywhere that I want to go. So I think languages would be really cool, but instruments is also technically a language. It's the
Ooh.
language of music.
That's one. That's
Yeah,
one
you're right.
over-
One.
You're right.
Whereas, but yeah, no, languages.
Also, you wouldn't be that British person on holiday that always just expects other people to speak.
Buongiorno.
You would actually speak their language, so you'd probably
100%.
be very respected. Okay, so we're all in agreement.
Yeah,
We'd all rather
100%.
speak
Yeah.
the same language. That's great. I want one that we're going to clash on, but I think we're just very agreeable people, aren't we?
We're
just all one mind.
Yeah.
We all just are on the
All
same
one
wavelength
foot.
all the time.
All one toe.
Okay.
Nice.
Our last
That was
question.
too far.
That was too far, Becca Puma. Our last question, on the theme of finding our feet, about discovering our way in this world and choosing our path, would you rather always feel like you're chasing something just out of reach, or feel like nothing matters anymore?
Always chasing something.
It's
Always
just out of your
chasing
reach.
something. Yeah, because, for example, one thing that always jumps to mind, Tyson Fury was wanting to become the heavyweight champion,
Yeah.
and he was chasing that, and it was out of reach, and then he got it, and was like, oh,
Yeah,
As it
once
is.
once you peak, your life again goes downhill. Like once
Yeah.
you've like gotten everything you wanted, where are you supposed to go? I don't
Where
think that you
next?
should ever like give yourself a list of goals and when you're done, you're done. Like it should always be added to.
Yeah.
yeah.
So
keep
I think
evolving.
that
But
that's like a really good thing that your goals are ever changingly out of reach because they always
Yeah.
But here's the
improve and become
hypothetical.
new.
What if it was the same goal you had that was just out of reach? You always got close, but you were always second place and you never got first. So you had that ambition, you had that dream, but you didn't have the taste of victory that you
But-
always wanted.
But am I actually second place?
You're second place, yes.
I would.
Or
I
are you
would,
first place in your heart?
I would go for second. I would go for second.
Nice.
Yeah,
I suppose that you're
no one
very...
wants to be third.
That's true.
Second's fine.
You're on the podium.
You're on the podium.
That's good
Yeah,
enough.
Take the
you're
podium.
on
Yeah.
the podium.
That's a
like,
nice way
that's
to look at
way
life.
better.
Let's
It's
go.
very appreciative of what you've got. Yeah,
Yeah.
perfect. But on the other flip side, just to put something
Go for
out
it.
there, and for anyone listening at home, like, never feel affected by anything. Like, you're so calm, you're so laid back. Surely you can just enjoy life, not be bothered by anything.
No.
I mean, the world can be a very confusing place.
Can't be
Imagine if you
bored.
just...
Yeah, I'm too driven. I I want to keep doing stuff
I
that
thought you didn't have a driving license.
I actually don't.
Yeah, I
I've
know.
never had one lesson.
That's
There you
what I
go.
said.
If anyone listening is a driving instructor.
So not very driven, is he?
No.
There you go. Actually, he's very driven. Driven
Passenger
by his mum.
Yeah. My parents drive me everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Do you know what? I think it's a sort of testament to our generation that we would rather be second place and fighting for something that we believe in than to have no cares at all. And speaking of two very driven people, two very people committed to their craft and always aspiring for more, is Alexis and Clara, who we had the pleasure of interviewing. Enjoy their interviews now.
Yeah, here's Alexis Starke.
Hello, Alexis Starke. How are you? You all good?
I'm well, thank you. And you both?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm really good.
Obviously we know you, but in like 30 seconds or less, explain to the people listening who you are and what you do.
Fabulous. So my name's Alexis. I'm 23, unfortunately, and I'm in my third year graduating year at the Leeds Conservatoire on their acting course. I was recently just starring in a show with you two lovely people, Midsummer Night's Dream by Gemma Fairley. It was a fantastic experience, and we're coming towards the end of our training now, aren't we? So,
yeah, scary times, really scary times. How are you feeling about that? We're soon to graduate. Have you got any worries, concerns?
Well, I think throughout the year, it's felt okay because our year has been quite nicely spaced out. We were all in the first two shows of the year, and then we had a little bit of a hiatus, you might say, as things got a little bit more relaxed and things as we were doing some more of our like recorded media things on screen work and voice work. And then we had our lovely showcase, which was a nice little bump up in the middle. And then another little few weeks of bits and bobs. And then we had our last show. So I feel like for me, this year layout has felt quite nice, where we've had some ups and we've had some downs, but it's all felt quite consistent. But now that our last sort of major thing is over, I think it's been a rude awakening that we really do not have a lot of time left.
Yeah.
So I think that it's come as a bit of a surprise, but it is exciting, or it should be.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, let's start from the top. When did acting and entertaining become a thing for you?
Well, I grew up as a dancer before anything else, actually, because my older sister was a dancer, and I kind of just decided to give it a go one day, and I picked up that, loved it, and then I would like sing in choirs and stuff as well. My parents were very interested in keeping us both active, and neither of us were very good at sports, so active translated into dance and song and all of that kind of stuff. And then it kind of led into acting through the route of musical theatre, which is very funny considering that's how I kind of got my start, and it's not something I'm at all interested in now. But yeah, I was spinning plates and doing all three for a while, and then really decided that the acting was the kind of thing that I wanted to focus on. I still do dance, but I always like to say that I'm an actor first, a dancer second, and a singer fifth, because I don't market myself as a singer anymore. But yeah, that kind of led into my teen years. And then I was lucky enough to leave home at 16 and study on a sixth form course at the Liverpool Institute of Performing Arts. And that's where I honed in on straight acting specifically. And then over COVID, I had a few years away from the industry, and then making my grand return now after my drama school experience.
Well, you mentioned just like briefly there on, that you used to do a lot of dancing, singing, musical theatre, and then made that transition into acting. Was that when you joined LIPA, or was there like a role or a show or a play that you did that made that transformation for you?
Well, I was actually lucky enough to do some like child acting work, and I like kind of right place, right time kind of thing, and like a lot of puzzle pieces fit together quite nicely for me. I was very, very lucky, but I beg your pardon, I kind of when that started to sort of gain traction and I got like, small parts here, small parts there, because I was so busy with that, everything else kind of fell away. And I suppose um I I think that I was I'll toot my own horn slightly and say that I think I have a slight natural talent for comic timing. And
I'd
I think
agree.
that
I'd
Yeah,
agree.
yeah.
I'd agree.
thank you. And I think that's what kind of carried me in my early career. And playing the funny friend and stuff was that was my gambit. And that sort of trope really, I would say, carried me for a fair while. And that's what made me fall in love with it. And I was so happy to kind of be like, oh yeah, like this is what I'm good at, this is what I can do. Can't do much else, but it's fine because I've got this one thing and I could do that for the rest of my life. And then speaking of Lipper, it was interesting that after I started my training, I started getting different roles after that. And that
Mm.
was really exciting to me because I was like, oh, there's all this other stuff that I could do that I never knew. So that's what made me want to continue pursuing my training as well. Because I'm a bit greedy, if I have to say, like
I mean,
it's
you were saying like you've trained at like a few different places as well. Would you say anything has kind of surprised you about the journey at Leeds Conservatoire, or has anything in different places training, would you say that's changed your outlook as a performer in a way? Anything specific?
Yeah, I think so. Well, first of all, it was a massive plus for me to be able to train in the north. I'm from West Yorkshire originally. Training
Yeah.
in Liverpool was fabulous. I spent some time in Manchester and did some things there, like with the Royal Exchange Young Company and the Hope Mill Academy. Um, and when I was starting to look for drama school experience, obviously a lot of it is centered in the south, and then there's sort of hot points here and there, but nothing really in the north and Yorkshire specifically. There's obviously Lipper in Liverpool, and there's the Manchester Metropolitan University. There was the Arden, unfortunately, not anymore. But in Yorkshire specifically, it was really exciting to me that there was an up and coming drama school because it feels like home to me, and I have always kind of rejected the fact that you have to like move somewhere else and reject your humble beginnings to start somewhere else and make it successful. So it was really exciting to me that I was able to train in the north. But being in Leeds, I think, has been really uplifting because the diversity of the people on our course, I think, is really outstanding. And I think that that lends itself to, I don't know about your guys' experience, but I've never felt pitted against anyone else in our year. And I know that a lot of drama schools are not like that. And they are kind of, this is only from what I've heard from other people, of course, but it in terms of seeing the other people on your cohort and your classmates as your competition is something that I really don't think is necessary or healthy. And I don't think
Yeah.
it breeds a productive working environment. So that's not something that I've ever experienced at Leeds, which I was really happy about.
I mean, I don't know if you can tell, but I'm from the south. Hello. And one of the things that I loved when I came to Leeds, Leeds wasn't on my radar when I was auditioning, until I came up here because a different drama school, who I, won't name because Leeds, was doing a workshop at Leeds, and
Mhm.
everyone at Leeds Conservatoire was so friendly towards me that I just went, do you know what? Why am I not auditioning here? It does make me wonder if it's just something about the North that I think people are just so much more pleasant, in my experience anyway,
They are.
and so friendly and inviting compared to, when I go back down south, that maybe there's that, or it might be that Leeds Conservatoire is a newer drama school that prides itself on, like, trying to be good with mental health and things like that. Is that what do you think it is about Leeds Conservatoire that makes it different to other places?
Well, I think that obviously the majority of other drama schools are rather established in the fact that they've been going for a long time. And I think that this is one of the oldest industries out there, but it's also one of the newest and most rapid changing, which I think is something that is easily forgotten when you have built a structure that has worked for people and that is continuing to spit out some of the most successful performers out there. I think it's easy to forget that there are so many new things that this industry has to offer, and also that as a society, things change, and to remain conscious and aware of, keeping your finger on the pulse about what's going on in the industry, what's going on in the world, because this industry, again, is almost a conduit to people. It's something that everyone, pretty much, in some form or another, will digest at some point during their life. And it's constantly changing. And I think that to have a new and upcoming drama school, that's something that they're really aware of and that they're trying to continue to bring to the students. And also, that's what they feel the students can bring to them as well. If
Yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, no, 100%. I think another good thing about the conservatoire, yeah, good things, is that they try to make everyone like an individual. Everyone can be themselves, and I feel the creative community here is very supportive. Um, again, I'm only talking from my experience here, but I feel it's the same. Um, that yeah, it's not just like everyone has to be this kind of same thing, and they're not making robots who
Yeah.
just go out, do a script, do it well, move on. They're making like actual people, and they're helping the people as well as actors.
Yeah.
I
I
don't know.
feel
Yeah.
like they've really tried to help us feel like we're individuals,
Yeah.
which I'm not sure if that's the case if you go to anywhere else. I feel like there is an idea in this industry that there is a perfection of like how an actor should be, how they should behave, how they should portray themselves, that maybe Leeds has been a bit more flexible with in
Yeah.
terms of how do you see yourself, not necessarily like how
Yeah.
does everyone else see you,
It's
you know?
also a kind of place to take creative risks. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
especially in our recent performance of A Midsummer Night's Dream.
Yeah.
Yay!
Wow.
I mean, you
It was
were
a bit risky.
yeah, it was a bit. Can you tell us a bit about that? Like, obviously, you played Titania, and lovely feedback from everyone on the entire performance, but yourself especially. What was your way into that role?
Well, again, this like we knew that we were playing these characters in July of last year.
Yeah,
So we've had a lot of time to kind of think about how we wanted to approach this and what we wanted to do. And we had been kind of given nuggets of information about what might be happening with this project. We knew that it was probably going to be immersive. We knew the venue was a non-traditional theatre space. We didn't know our director. Um, we didn't know anything else. So, and then once we knew our director, and I'm sure all did a little bit of sleuthing into her, Gemma Fairley, um, in my experience, I was told that she's very London, and I was like, okay. And I don't know if you guys realize, but there's actually a lot of regional voices that were in the cast of A Midsummer Night's
Yeah.
Dream. We had
yes.
plenty of northern people, people from Ireland and Scotland, all over the place. It was fabulous. And then a couple of weeks before we started, our director came in with a very, very strong concept immediately, which was lovely to see. And all of the kind of preconceptions about what Shakespeare is and what we should be doing with it kind of went out of the window, which was really lovely, to be fair, because I was trying my best not to have any kind of preconceived notion of what the project was going to be like, because I think one of the best things about Shakespeare is because it is, people say that it's overdone, people say that it's overused, but I think one of the most interesting things about that is the yearning to make it interesting because of that fact.
100%.
And you can really do anything with it. And I think you could say that we did quite a lot with this one.
Yeah.
Just a bit. Just a
Well,
bit.
just a bit here and there.
I
So
mean,
knowing the concept and knowing the character is she's one of my favorite characters. She's been an absolute dream role of mine for a long time. So I was very, very grateful to be able to bring her to life in my own way. And I think that something that lent itself really well to our process is Gemma, the director's kind of playfulness and like allowing us to, I think one of her catchphrases was make a choice and try it out. So I think that's what we all tried to do and just kind of figure things out as we were working, see what happened, see what we liked, see what stuck. And some things didn't stick, and that's fine. But I was very happy with where we landed with this just utterly joyous experience.
Yeah, I mean, we took definitely a very non-traditional approach to Shakespeare, which I loved. It was so, movement heavy as well as immersive. Do you think that that is the way forward for modern Shakespeare, or do you think traditional Shakespeare is still something that can be done?
I think that traditional Shakespeare will always have a foothold in the industry because there are plenty of people, myself included, every now and again. I think if you do classical Shakespeare well, it is it is fascinating. It's rather incredible. But then I think that it can also swing too far the other way, and you can be so focused on making it interesting and innovative that it becomes you lose contact with the original material, which is fine, but then why wouldn't you just make something new?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
100%.
That's
Everything's kind of, yeah, everything's changing, and bringing those kind of new ideas and new concepts are really good. I mean, as you said before as well, with the industry being one of the oldest, but one of the kind of newest, and it's always changing. Do you think that the industry is changing in terms of who it champions and the kind of stories being told within that as well?
I think, yeah, the change it is out there if you look for it. And in terms of like representation and things like that, there are these fantastic pockets of it here and there. Um, it's getting better, I would say, and I think that, the industry does an interesting thing where it seems to, in my experience, in kind of the mainstream media, focus on one thing at a time and say, this is what we're going to do now, and this is what we're going to do that's going to be good. Look at us, aren't we great? And then it does that, and then it's like, sweet, nailed that. Let's try something else. And then it'll focus all of its content on this new idea and forget about the old one. And I think that what would be lovely to see the industry do is obviously because this is so the industry is so sprawling, this will be happening in pockets. But again, you have to look for it. I would love to see an even playing field and just equal opportunities for so many different people. And obviously with positive discrimination and things like that, that has really helped. But I think that maybe I'm being slightly too optimistic, but seeing a place where that isn't needed because the people that are accessible to those jobs and those careers and those roles or whatever is already so massive. And the list of people that could do the job is as big as it could possibly be. And the right person for the role is regardless of their lived experience, maybe.
Fair.
But then that's a double-edged sword, you see, because I'm going to contradict myself now and say that I think that people bringing their lived experience to a role is something that can obviously be dangerous and should always be explored in a safe environment. But is something that can be really powerful. And I think that true representation, obviously, can be boiled down to people getting to tell their own stories.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so true.
So we're
So true.
approaching the end of the glorious 3 years that have been at Leeds Conservatoire, and we're soon to be graduating. What do you see is next for Alexis Stark? Is it TV? Is it stage?
Well, this is something that's been interesting recently, actually, because throughout my tenure at the Leeds Conservatoire, have always been fed to believe by myself and by others that I am a stage actor because I think you both know that when I'm in a room, I soak up all the air in the room, and I'm quite a big personality.
You are a presence.
I, I pride myself on that, and I like to be, larger than life where I can be, and I think that I've always been told that that lends itself best to theatre. And then throughout industry weeks, when we had lots of input from very nuanced input from lots of different people in the industry, I was told that I was a stunning screen actor, which has never been said to me before, ever. And like I said at the very start of this interview, I'm greedy and I'm interested in it all.
Take all of them.
Well, I'm like, which bit of the industry do you want to do? All of it. Yes, I do. I keep saying this industry is so massive, it's so sprawling. It has so much to offer, and I'm greedy. I want to experience a bit of everything.
As you should.
I think the greediness is a good thing. It shouldn't be looked at as negative. Have more strings to your bow and all of that.
Absolutely.
100%. Anyway, we're coming to the end of the interview, so thank you so much for your time as well. But before we finish, we have our favourite little segments on the Fanning Off Eat podcast. The first one of which is the question of the week. Now, in the episode prior, we had Tyler Pickles on. Really good interview, really fun. And he gave you a question. He didn't know that it was you. So yeah, this is the question from Tyler Pickles. Do you want to?
I would love to. Tyler Pickles asks you, what is your go-to character in Mario Kart?
Oh, my go-to character in Mario Kart. This might be really basic, but it's Princess Peach.
Yes.
But why?
Also, baby Princess Peach if she's available. Well, just because I've never been a blonde, and I would love to experience that one day, maybe.
It's a great answer.
It's a really good answer. I mean, and then obviously the next person on the podcast is also in this episode. Oh, spoilers! Keep listening, guys. What is your question for them?
I think if there is one thing that is in your day-to-day bag that might surprise people, what is that?
What a question. Brilliant.
I'm interested.
I'm very interested.
I'm interested.
Me too.
No, we go. We'll keep listening. Anyway. Okay, and our favourite thing of the week. Now it can be anything physical, mental. We've gone from meal deals to farting. What is your thing of the week?
Fantastic. Well, mine is a little bit more cerebral than that. Obviously, in an age like we have at the moment, we are constantly berated by things on the news and in the world that are difficult to overcome. And I was reminded of a quote by a friend of mine, actually. And I'm just going to read you this quote, and it's open to interpretation, but it's pessimism of the intellect, optimistic of the will. And I think that that's really interesting because when you look at the world and you see it, warts and all, it can be easy to be pessimistic about it, but then you have to remain optimistic of the will to change that. And remember that there are people out there that are still fighting the good fight all the days.
That's a really nice way to look at life.
Love that.
That's really nice.
Also, I think that's our.
I think we can all strain ourselves to do that slightly more. I think definitely speaking for myself there as well.
100%.
Brilliant.
1000%.
Thank you for that wisdom.
No.
It's very much needed on the Finding Our Feet podcast.
Anyway, well, again, thank you so much for your time, Alexis. Genuinely,
Thanks
I mean that,
for
and
having me.
thank you for coming on and expressing your wisdom. To leave us with a song of the week, I want you to introduce it, and then we'll go straight into the song.
Fabulous. So this is a song that I love to dance around in my kitchen too. So I would love to share that with you and all of your listeners today. And this is When I Think of You by Janet Jackson.
think of you. When I think of you. When I think of you. Bass.
Hi, this is Editing Sam. I've just realised that we didn't do a segue here. So, here is the interview with Clara Carson. Hope you guys enjoy. Hello, Clara Carson. How are you?
Hey, I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, great. Chilling. Obviously, we know you, but in like 30 seconds or less, could you tell the people listening who you are and what you do?
Hey, hi, people listening. My name's Clara Carson. I'm an actor. I'm a director. I'm kind of a writer, but that's very new. Um, that's pretty much it.
Less than 30 seconds.
Short and sweet.
So, Clara, tell us what first drew you to the industry, to acting, to directing, to all of it, to writing.
It's a good question. When I was in year two, I was in a club, and the club was a storytelling club, which is like so middle class of me now that I say it. But it was at my school. It was like the drama teacher, but he'd only teach Key Stage 2. But I think to try and get people to sign on to speech and drama, he did this club. And I just remember this one week he gave us like he wanted us to bring in like a book, I think, to tell stories from. And I had this like folk tale storybook. And I brought it in and told a story. And I remember like standing up in front of everybody and being like, oh, this is great. And I remember them applauding and me being like, oh, I totally smashed that. And and then I did speech and drama and it turned out I was quite good. And then I just did that throughout like school. And it was always very clear that this is what I wanted to do. And annoyingly so, like growing up, I hated that. I was like, no, I'm going to do something that's stable because that's the kind of kid I was. I was really fun. Yeah, it was just clear that like I just loved this too much to not do it. And then directing and writing have come later. That's been at drama school because we've all been training together, obviously.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I think I just love theatre and I love working with actors and I love a rehearsal room. It's always my favorite part of any process. And I think you just get to enjoy it more as a director. Or you enjoy it in a different way. And then writing is just because I'm opinionated as anything. It's always just sort of want to rail against the world, and writing is a way of doing that. But I don't rail, obviously. I still make it entertaining. But,
I mean, you just spoke on like your time at drama school. You're in your third year now. How has your time at Leeds Conservatoire influenced you as an artist?
well, flipping heck, guys. Just saying, before we started, you were like, it's fine, it's just a little chat. And now you're like, so how was training for 3 years? I don't like in all the ways, I guess. I mean, it's changed me. It's changed me as a person. it's definitely made me more conscious of the industry. It's definitely made me more knowledgeable. It's definitely made me more playful. More, I think, like looser and freer. Yeah, freer, more comfortable
Mm.
being vulnerable in front of large groups of people. I think I was very, I mean, I am quite a highly strung person anyway, but certainly when I was 18, off the back of like drama school auditions, I actually feel like a lot of first year was like undoing the damage that auditioning did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary times.
Yeah,
Horrible.
Traumatic times, PTSD.
yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think anyone who's
yeah.
gone to drama school would agree with that. Like, I think the first year is learning to really love drama because drama school auditions are so serious and you take yourself so
But
seriously.
the thing is, you look back on it, and I mean, I've had the pleasure, Sean, you've had the pleasure of being like a student ambassador in drama school auditions, and it is just jokes.
It
Like
really
it actually is fun.
Yeah.
Fine here.
Yeah, it's
He
been brilliant.
was well, I mean, I was sick the entire time, but
Oh.
I like
We
had
got
a
it.
good, yeah, had a good time. That's all it takes.
I think it was the perfectionism of the time of being like you felt like you had to get everything right, and now when you go to drama school, it's like okay, now be a sloth, and you're like, well, I can't do that right. I'm not a sloth, so.
Yeah,
Speak
totally.
for yourself. I was the perfect sloth.
Hey, I do a great color blue. That's all I'm gonna say.
No, of course. You mentioned earlier that you're opinionated and you've spoken a lot that we know kind of about politics within the industry. Do you feel like artists have a responsibility to speak out, or should they keep their activism separate from their work?
That's a very good question.
Well, thank you.
I think it's layered. I think that I think that it's two things. I think that celebrity culture is really damaging, and the way that it manifests in our society, I think is misplaced. I think we almost expect like actors to take the role of philosophers, which is absurd. Like it's not even writers that we idealize in that way. It's actors. It just doesn't make any sense to me. So I think that there's something like really quite fundamental to the way that our society interrogates like moral questions and ethical questions and philosophical questions that is misplaced in a general way. I think that there are pockets of the society that get it right or are closer to right or whatever. But speaking as an artist and as an actor predominantly, that is the world that we live in, and I think with great power comes great responsibility.
Nice.
Yeah.
No.
So
On
I think
yourself.
yeah, it's just off the top of my head. And but I think that that's true, and especially with like theatre and film, I think that the role it plays within society is people walk into a theatre and they are open to having their mind changed in a way that they are nowhere else. They're open to like thinking in depth about things that they take as fact, that they take as given, and they don't take it seriously. So they're okay with disagreeing. And I think in the modern day in the West, that's really rare. You don't find that in other spaces, I don't think. Certainly not in the same way, certainly not as openly. And I think given all that, like we've got a huge opportunity there as artists, as theatre makers and filmmakers, a huge opportunity. And I think to not take it is misguided and also dangerous and foregoing of your I think it is our responsibility. I think it's really important. It's like when fascists come in and take control, one of the first things they get rid of is the arts, or that they try and control is the arts. Hitler did it. Brecht, Brecht, a really famous theatre practitioner we all spend years studying, literally was running away from the Nazis for like most of his career. Every dictator that comes in, the first thing they'll take will be the arts, and it's because it functions as a philosophical space en masse, I think, like for the masses. Like that's it's so important to democracy. And I think it is that serious. So yeah, though I think like, okay, asking the latest red carpet star like what their views on the president are on the Late Late Show, and you've got a 5 minute slot and they're media trained and they're just trying not to get cancelled, like that's not great. But theatre, for sure, like for sure, it is political. You can't separate that. So I think if it's there, let's use it and let's be conscious about how we use it because we're engaging with it just by being in that space.
Yeah,
That's a great answer.
yes.
I mean, obviously, this is something that I think we all know you to be so passionate about. Like you've always been one to speak out about how the two go hand in hand together, and you should hold yourself to the values that you set.
Yeah.
Do you think that there was a moment that you remember sparked that in you, like that passion to stand up for what you believe in? Or do you think it's just always been you've been a justice warrior from the womb?
I have been a justice warrior from the womb.
Nice.
But the justice wasn't necessary. Okay, so the justice wasn't necessarily fair. Like when I was such a little pick me when I was 5 years old. Because I remember it was like a school day, everybody had to dress up as like princesses and princes from Disney, and I hated Disney. And I thought, well, I'm so much better than all of those girls. I'm not a princess. Are you joking? And I was grumpy the whole day. Knowing now, like, it's because I had a very limited view on womanhood and what a woman was, and I didn't see myself in quite patriarchal depictions of what a woman is or should be. I did not see myself reflected, and I went, well, I'm not that. And then I did the pick me thing of going, well, I'm better than those girls, as opposed to going, well, these girls aren't real. But I was 5 years old, so I cut myself some slack.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, but certainly when I was a teenager, I mean, my mum is an immigrant. That informs a lot of how I see the world. Inherently, my dad is mixed race, English and Indian, and his mum was an immigrant. Their lives have been really overtly politicized. Their rights have been used as or treated as if they're negotiable, as opposed to these are your rights, and you grow up in that environment. I think you are aware of these things. My mum is also very political. There's a reason my mum left her home country, it was political. So I suppose that's the environment I've grown up in. And then when Brexit happened, so I've always been politically aware, that's what I'm going with that. And then when Brexit happened, that for me was when I really was aware of politics, like in the adult way. I just remember I remember crying actually when I found out, because I knew how devastating it would be. Like, how old were we? How old were we? We were quite...
2016 was the official vote, so 13, 14, 15.
Yeah. So I was horrified, and I saw as I think so many of us did, like, let's be honest, it was really racist, and it was a campaign was just built on lies.
100%.
Was attacking immigrants, right? So so for me, it was just really emotional. And also I've always cared a lot about the environment because in an existential way, like, we're all going to die if people don't care more. And the culmination of those two things led to me becoming, actually, now I think about it, really politically disengaged, because I felt hopeless. I just despaired. My anxiety it was one of the things that meant that my anxiety got bad. I just was in like low moods a lot. And then when I was older and had a better handle on my mental health, was engaging more with the arts, because I was going to a new school where I could just act all the time. That's then when my actual engagement in politics sort of came back in like a healthy way, in a fun way. Yeah. But there was a brief period where I cared a lot but couldn't face it.
Yeah.
Which I'm happy to say I'm out of it now. And actually, partly because of a lot of podcasts. So
hey,
yeah.
Great form of content.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was you three. You raised me.
I know that like political activism can be very difficult because you can face a lot of backlash, and I think there's a lot of misinformation and misconceptions about social activism, especially in the arts world. Have you experienced any of that yourself, or have any opinions on that?
I don't think so. I think I've been really lucky. But whether that's because people just haven't said it to my face, I don't know. But I sort of think I understand like the fear of getting cancelled, like as a thing. Um, and if I was like famous, it would be a different conversation. And I empathize with it. But I think if your intentions are good and you move about the world in a considered way, in a thoughtful way, just as a rule, and that is part of how you deal with politics. I think if you're willing and open to be wrong and you don't view that as a bad thing, but you always move in kindness, or at least you try to, then I think you're probably not going to have that much issue with like cancelled, right? Or like triggering people and then being like, oh, I'll never work with you again, I'll never speak with you again. I think your chances of that happening are smaller. Not like obviously it can still happen. There are bad actors everywhere all the time, you know. But I think on the whole, most people don't want to fight and don't want to hate you and yeah, I think if they trust that your intentions are good, at the very least there's space for forgiveness. But in my life I haven't encountered a lot of need of that. Like people tend to just be open to these conversations and yeah, positive about it. I don't know.
You personally would never shy away from those kind of conversations.
I would choose my time and place carefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily shy away. I certainly I approach the conversations very differently depending on how much I think I know.
Fair.
Like if I don't think I know a lot, I'll still engage and I'll like ask questions and I might share some opinions, but I tend to preface everything with, but I haven't read a lot about it, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah.
But it is scary. It's scary to say your opinions in a world that you're afraid that it can mean it's not just an opinion on a certain thing and then you can talk about it. Sometimes you're very wary who you say them to because you don't know who you're properly talking to yet. If
Yeah.
what you're saying and your small what you know about it, that small little bit that you want to talk about, that could mean completely different words to what you're saying to someone else that views it differently.
I also think social media is huge in that.
Yeah.
And the the ways that everything can be swayed as well. Like your opinions and stuff can be swayed from like literally just a little TikTok video or something, and it's like it's just it's annoying on the mind sometimes, I would say as well. To have lots of
Yeah.
yeah.
I also think it just the age that we're in, like TikTok is awful for information. Like
Yeah.
nothing is simple. So if you're going to try and confine any piece of information to 60 seconds, you're probably going to struggle. Now, if we're talking about complex political issues, like one book isn't enough to understand this stuff. Do you know what I mean? I'm reading a great book at the minute. It's called How Westminster Works and Why It Doesn't. It's by Ian Dunt. Oh my goodness, you have to read it. I've been politically engaged my whole life. Reading this book, I'm like, oh, everything makes so much more sense now. And even this, it's like the more you learn there is to learn. Like,
Yeah.
oh, it's so much more complex than I thought, and also it's broken in a way I didn't realize. I thought it was broken in one way, and I don't think that's the problem. It's broken in this way. I'd never get that from TikTok. And when the majority of people are getting the majority of their understanding of political systems, of political events and situations and unfolding events from TikTok, and they don't trust any regulated news source. I'm not saying that there isn't good reason for that. But when they're not engaging at all, and it's like the majority or a significant part of the population, that's really bad. Like, that's really bad, you know? Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
right there with you.
Would you say there's a particular like cause or movement within the industry that you think people should be paying more attention to right
Within
now?
the
Yeah.
Or something specifically that you want to be aware of.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know that it's a cause or an issue, but I've been certainly been thinking recently. We're in an industry that we like to credit ourselves with how diverse we are, or at least how diverse we're trying to be or we're going to be. I think that we're not diverse really at all. We're getting better at being more racially and culturally diverse. Even then, it's quite small. I think the way that we're going about trying to bring that diversity into creative spaces is flawed. I think sometimes it really works and sometimes often it really doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is the one area where we're moving in the right direction. When I think about like class wise, the industry is upper middle and upper class. It's really not working class at all. It's incredibly difficult and getting more difficult for working class people to enter the industry and have continued careers in it. We are also not diverse of thought. Most of us are left wing. I think you do find right wing artists, but again, they're few and far between. And also, we're not diverse in terms of faith. Most of the industry is atheist. And I think the thing about these three areas as well is that as I don't think many artists working in the industry are cognizant of the fact that there aren't those people represented in our rooms, in our spaces. So we behave as if we all agree. And it's like the only sane thing to do, that we're all on the same page in these three areas, if that makes any sense. And I would like to see that changed, especially, I mean, look, like I'm middle class, I'm left wing, but I am religious, and I think that's why I started like becoming aware of that and thinking about these three areas, because I was like, oh, it's kind of the same across these three groups. Yeah, so I don't know, I'd like to see that changed, because I think it's more interesting if the arts are being informed by lots of different backgrounds, like actually.
Well, we'd love to talk all day about this, but we have got to
yeah.
wrap up soon. But before we go, you're graduating soon. Can you tell us what's next for Clara Carson? Have you got any upcoming projects or goals that you were excited to talk about?
I don't know if there's anything that I want to put out there publicly yet. There's a lot of things
in the works.
There's cooking going on.
There's things going on, exactly.
Keep an eye out is basically.
Eye out, yeah, follow me on social media. I'm also probably going to leave for South America in like a year, so
Cool.
that would be cool. That's just a life thing. That's not necessarily a work thing.
Do you want to plug your social media while you're here?
Yeah, my social media is Clara Louisa Carson.
Let's go. And just before we leave you, first of all, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you.
Thanks for having me. It was lovely.
Well. And your wisdom and knowledge is brilliant.
Breath of fresh air for the Finding Our Feet podcast.
No, 100%.
I'm gonna listen to this and be like, how is she in the same life
for the past 3 years? Like,
you guys.
I disagree with that. I think we're very well matched.
It's a very mature way to think.
But we'll go on to our favourite segments. So the first one is question of the week. Now, the last person who was on the podcast on this episode was Alexis Starke.
Yeah.
And Alexis asked a question for you, not knowing that it was you. And the question was, if there is one thing that is in your day-to-day bag that will surprise people, what is it?
Oh, that's such a good question. No, but I'm so type A that I don't know if there's anything in there that would surprise anyone. Like a book, pencil case. Yeah, you'd assume. I'm looking at my bag now. What's in my bag? What's in my bag? Wait.
Okay.
Clara's currently searching through her bag.
She can't hear us. Headphones are off.
You know, I'm gonna.
Welcome back.
It's upsettingly basic, but I will say I always have an umbrella. It hasn't rained.
Oh.
Oh no,
Yeah, nice.
yeah, it's summer, but I carry an umbrella everywhere with me because I hate being caught in the rain.
If
But
you
that's
bring-
also that's so boring. Look how boring I am.
You have to be
Like I have
prepared.
An
strep
umbrella's good. Always
Thanks.
have an umbrella.
If you
I
always
think
have
that's
an
it.
umbrella and sun cream, you can never go wrong. It's in my thoughts.
I don't have sun cream, but I'm bullshit about it. So
And then for the next person on the podcast, what's your question of the week?
my question of the week is, what's your death row meal?
Ah,
Yeah.
it's a good question.
That's a great
Thanks,
question.
That's a
It's
good
a really
question.
good question.
Yeah.
It's a really good question. Yeah.
That'll be an interesting answer for whoever's next on the pod. Let's move on to what is your thing of the week? Yes. So it can be anything psychological, physical, a thought, a moment, an object, whatever.
My answer is the green on the leaves when it is stormy in springtime. So it's like dark skies, but the sun is coming through the clouds enough that the green on the leaves like is so vibrant. Like, do you know what I mean? Is when it's really
Yes.
bright. Yeah, that's what I mean. I live in a flat and I look down on some trees because Leeds is great and there are trees everywhere. And when it's been stormy recently, it's been like raining, but springtime, so we're getting like bright patches and then like storm. The green is so bright. It's almost like a lime green, but it just sort of like lifts off the tree. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
There we go. Beauty in nature.
That's very poetic.
Poetic
Yeah.
answers we've had.
I'm
mean-
Shana Pickles as Mario Kart.
What was mine? Like snot?
Yeah, yours is snot. Yeah, we've had some crazy ones on there. Linda Ray with farts, that's a big favourite of mine. So yeah, no, that was really nice. Really
Yeah,
good.
so a different energy.
Yeah.
But again, Clara, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you coming on the pod. But before we let you go, can you introduce your song of the week?
My song of the week is 3DB by Richie Mitch and the Coal Miners. For no reason other than I've been listening to it a lot recently. It's good vibes.
She's so easier to love you in the summertime, where I can hang you out to dry. stuck in the future. And I said I won't become a substance abuser. And I'll come right back to the very place we met. See it in the stars tattooed on Orion's wing. I could shout, but still I'm holding out. That's why. So I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up. In more ways than one. In more ways than one.
Well, unfortunately, guys, that's all we have time for today. I
That
hope you
was
guys enjoyed the
great.
interviews, though.
I
brilliant.
loved it.
We love Alexis
Yeah, they were
Starke. We love
great.
Clara Carson. Shout out to them. Go follow them on all the socials. Anything that we need to plug before we?
No, I
before
think
we
we're
dip?
good.
No, all good.
At Fanning Our Feet Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube as well. Right. Anyway, thank you everyone
Bye,
for listening.
guys.
Bye,
Love
guys.
You,
Thank
bye.
you. Love you.
See
Bye.
ya.
Tatana.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.